Do you want more? More time, more balance, more love, more sex, more money, more real, and less bullshit? This is the Women Wanting More podcast with Dr. Karen Osborne. Real life, real stories, plus real tips to get you more of what you want.
So there's something that I discovered when I was listening to a podcast episode today. Yes, I mentioned this recently. I'm a podcaster and I also listen to podcasts. It was actually one of the reasons that I started my first podcast back in 2014, which was Mom at 41, was that podcasts had just completely opened up my mind to seeing things in a different way, and I could access it very easily on my phone and whatever I wanted to learn about and people I wanted to, understand. Anyways, it was just amazing. So as I'm listening to one today by Dax Shepard, who is a comedian / actor. He's doing an interview with Jason Bateman, who's hilarious. And I'm laughing. And I'm like, you know what? I need to lighten up. Let me actually add this to what really sounds more like me. I need to lighten the fuck up a lot more in my life. Now, I have 2 young boys who talk about penises and balls and like to be naked and are goofy, silly little boys. And, that's all well and good. But I'm also dealing with a lot of don't hit your brother. Don't do that. Don't run in the parking lot. Okay, guys, let's have fun. Why we fight? There's a lot of, if you're a mother, right? There's a lot of shit that's going down when you're a parent. And I know at times that, of course, your kids don't understand when they're really little, right? My boy made some comment the other day about how, the babysitter's way more fun than you. And I'm like, yeah, because she just gets to hang out and play with you, dude. Mommy's got to take care of your food and clean your clothes and teach you how to become a respectable boy and to grow up to be a good man. And so it means that, yeah, buddy, 24/7, mommy can't play. And quite honestly, mommy doesn't want to play 24/7. I have other things to do as well, too. You're going to have to learn how to be bored, how to entertain yourself. But I realized in this is that I simply don't laugh as much as I won't even say should, but could throughout the day. No, screw it. Should. I think it's okay to have sadness or pain or shit going on in life, but yet still laugh. It's very easy to think, well, I have this stuff going on. What do I have to be happy about? Or I could take a look at a recent podcast I talked about friend John that I went to chiropractic college with, and we weren't close. He was very close with another friend of mine who I'm close with, but still learning that he was diagnosed with a very aggressive form of cancer about maybe a year or so ago, or at least that's when I found out about it. And then just finding out last week that he had passed away, I can take a look at that and go, okay, so, John passed away. It's still sad, even though it was kind of sort of he was dying. He wasn't doing well. As positive as he was, as much of an incredible guy that he was, if I think of anything about John, it was he was funny. He would laugh very easily. I take a look at my boys around me, laughing easily. I have this energy about me, and maybe this is the same for you, sister, that's it's palpable. So it's I always used to say, I wear my heart on my sleeve, right? And so I can't fake things. You're going to feel what I'm feeling. And that can be a beautiful thing. When I'm leading women, when I'm teaching my children, when I'm with my husband, I'm in that space. But if I'm also in a space where it's I'm in the pit, I'm feeling this stuff, you feel that with me too. And so I have to be very mindful of that. And that I come from a space that's real and honest and the truth without it being oh my God, Karen, this is such a bummer. Do you know what I mean? And so as I'm listening to this podcast today, and unless you're my generation, so I'm 49, turn 50 next year. I'm listening to Jason Bateman, who was on a show called Silver Spoons, which I remember with Ricky Schroeder. If you were 20 or 30 something, you're I don't know who these people are. Google them. Go YouTube, Silver Spoons. Alfonso Ribeiro was on it like way back as well too. And Jason Bateman was on it for the first couple of years. And they're talking about something that Ricky Schroeder wore and he had a swatch. And anyways, it was funny because it was something so relevant and so random to that time period. And as I'm listening to this, as I'm coming back from my swim lesson, I'm walking upstairs, getting ready to go in the shower. I'm still listening to the podcast, holding my phone. I'm like, man, I just simply need to laugh more. I was talking, we watched a few movies with our boys this weekend. Night at the Museum, which is that Ben Stiller movie. And there's been a couple that have come out since. And we're talking about, remember Dodgeball? And which, by the way, Jason Bateman was in as well. And we're like, yeah, we got to watch that. It's almost like I feel, this maybe sounds like really bizarre, but I'm going to put it out there, that I need to schedule funny times in my day. Like I need to schedule okay, this is once a week. I'm going to sit down with my husband. Kids go to bed. We're going to watch a comedy. I find myself drawn to dramas, drawn to big movies and that kind of thing, or drawn to a story on Facebook that's just the most beautiful thing. However, I also just want to watch goat videos sometimes. Is that wrong? It's actually something I was watching with my boys. Goats who sound like humans screaming. It's hilarious. He was laughing so hard. We're both laughing so hard. But why does this matter? And doesn't everything have to be used, Karen? Is like, I could be learning that time. I could be. Listen, there's so much that happens when you laugh. Now, I'm not saying you fucking waste your day watching the goat videos, right? But listen, have moments in your day where I'm going to watch something for 5 minutes. I often will choose that when I'm having lunch. I work from home. So I'll go and I'll watch, just to go into YouTube, I'll watch something funny. And it's maybe 10 minutes and it just kind of gets me into a state and I kind of lighten up a little bit again and I go into that, Listen, Norman Cousins wrote a couple different books. He wrote, oh my gosh, I can't remember now the name of his books, but he was one of the first people, he was a medical doctor, that claims that he cured himself of cancer not once but twice by watching funny movies. And was one of the first people that started to understand that the thoughts, what we put into our mind, into our brains, it matters and it actually has an impact on healing. It has an impact on healing. If anything, it's just that little escape throughout your day, right? I remember reading a stat. This is years ago. When I was in practice as a chiropractor, and it was something like toddlers laugh. Oh gosh, it was 200 or 400 times a day or something like that, and adults only laugh 10 to 12. It's oh my God. Well, yes, I get it. Life can be heavy. Yes, I understand you might be going through something significant. I understand you might be going through a loss, a health crisis, a financial crisis, something happening within your marriage with your kids. I get all that. But I think that we can hold sadness and laugh at the same time. Or maybe within that same day, maybe not in the same breath, right? I think we can be going through pain, but we can also have joy in and out of those moments. I think we can be going through something really devastating like a loss, or one of the other ones I mentioned, financial crisis, health crisis, maybe going through a split or divorce, and still look for the light, which can come in the form of laughter. So here's your more tip for today. I want you to daily, over the next 7 days, schedule in laughter. Now, how's that going to look like? Well, it could be something like you watch a funny, now just so you know, when I'm saying you schedule this, saying I'm going to read this or watch this or whatever, or talk to this person on the phone or watch this movie, or a little clip of a movie. Don't say I'm going to go onto YouTube and look for stuff, because you'll get sucked in, right? I'm going to go onto Facebook and then all of a sudden you're what just happened to the last 45 minutes? But you go and you say, hey, I'm going to watch this video, or I'm going to read this funny book. I'm going to listen to this podcast. And you schedule time. 5 minutes, 10 minutes a day. It doesn't have to be something significant. You could even have one of those days you're hey, you know what? We're going to go to this movie, my husband and I, or my good friend and I. We're going to have a movie night. We're going to watch this particular movie. But you schedule in laughter throughout your day. Yes, you can still laugh outside of that, right? It's not like going to, people are so funny, they schedule something like fitness. They go, well, I'm going to the gym at this time. Okay, but it doesn't mean you can't go for a walk too, right? It doesn't mean that you can't go and like play in the park with your kids or hop on your bike and ride to the store to get groceries. Like, you can still do other stuff. This is not your only 5 or 10 minutes of laughter throughout the day. There can be other moments. But I think it's important for us to factor these things in, because life can be heavy, because it can be difficult and challenging. And these are these little reminders of just helping us to be able to lighten up and to look for the light. And sometimes the light comes in the form of laughter. So maybe that's what we'll call this episode. Look for the light in laughter, or there's light in laughter. Laughter and the light, one of those ones. But do that. Do that. Yes, you have the time. Yes, you are deserving. No, you don't have to feel badly if you're watching something funny and you have a good friend that's going through something significant right now. It's okay. They don't want your life to be dragged down with the stuff that's going on with theirs. It's okay. You are helping people that are in a dark space be able to see that there's light after where they are right now. And you can lead them there with your example. So again, over the next 7 days, schedule in something each day. I don't care if you schedule it over the week. You just wake up each day and say, you know what? I'm going to spend 10 minutes over lunchtime and I'm going to watch this funny video. Or, hey, today's Friday. My husband and I go to the movies. I've already scheduled it. We're going to see this movie and it's a really funny one. All right, sisters. So finishing up, 2 simple things. Number 1, if you do not already subscribe to the Woman Wanting More newsletter, I want you to do that right now. Head over to drkarenosborne.com/action guide. Enter your name and email. I'm going to send you some cool gifts when you do. And in addition, if you want one of the remaining Woman Wanting More limited edition orange leather cool ass journals for free, you just take your little bit of shipping. I do all the rest, and I'm going to send you some other really cool swag with that. I want you to over right now to drkarenosborne.com/free journal. So I will talk to you on the next episode, sister. A life of more is one step away from you remembering to laugh every single day. I love and appreciate you.
To get the show notes of each Women Wanting More episode, including the How to Get More tip, subscribe to the newsletter at drkarenosborne.com/newsletter.